The Valoran Empire had watched humanity for 300 years. They observed the small blue planet from the shadows of deep space. They saw humans build cities and destroy them in wars. They saw humans reach for their moon and then for Mars. They saw humans spread across their solar system like ants building new colonies. And through all of this, the Valorans made notes and drew conclusions. Humans were peaceful. That was the final judgment of the Valoran High Council. The evidence was clear to them. When humans made first contact with the Galactic Assembly, they came with open hands. They offered trade agreements instead of weapons. They asked questions instead of making demands. They wanted to learn about other species instead of conquering them. Ambassador Crix stood before the High Council with his assessment. These humans are soft creatures. They have known only their own system. They have never faced a true galactic power. Their ships are small. Their weapons are primitive. They speak of peace because they have no other choice. The Council agreed. For 50 years, humans traded peacefully with dozens of species. They shared technology and culture. They built diplomatic stations and hosted festivals. They created the Humanity Trade Coalition and welcomed all species as partners. And the Valarans watched this and saw weakness. They give away their resources. General Thax observed during a military briefing. They share their knowledge freely. They trust strangers. These are the behaviors of prey animals. The Valoran Empire was not built on peace. It was built on conquest. 47 worlds fell under Valoran control over 10,000 years. Each world was taken by force. Each species was broken and made to serve. The Valarans knew only one truth in the universe. The strong take what they want, and the weak suffer. Commander Vex was given command of the invasion fleet. 200 warships gathered at the edge of human space. Each ship was massive, covered in weapons designed to break planetary defenses. The Valoran soldiers aboard these ships had conquered a dozen worlds. They expected this conquest to be the easiest of all. Human space is soft fruit, Commander Vex told his officers. We will crush their outer colonies first. Then we move to their home world. By the time they understand what is happening, it will be too late. The first target was a mining colony on a moon called Titan Station. 5,000 humans lived there, working the ice mines and processing facilities. 3 Valoran warships dropped out of hyperspace near the moon. They expected no resistance. They expected surrender. What they found was something different. The mining station had no visible weapons. There were no warships in orbit. The humans sent a single transmission asking the Valorans to state their business. When the Valorans demanded immediate surrender, there was a pause. Then, a human voice responded with words that confused the Valoran captain. Please wait. We are contacting the fleet. The fleet. The Valarans had never heard of any human fleet. Their intelligence showed only cargo ships and small patrol vessels. They laughed at the transmission and prepared their weapons. But before they could fire, something happened that changed everything. Space itself seemed to tear open. A hole appeared in the darkness, and from that hole came a ship. But this was not a ship like any the Valorans had seen. It was enormous. It made their warships look like toys. The hull was black and covered in strange patterns that seemed to move and shift. And it was not alone. 3 more holes opened. 3 more massive ships emerged. They surrounded the Valoran vessels in seconds. The Valoran captain ordered his weapons to fire, but nothing happened. Their targeting system showed only static. Their engines failed. Their communications went dead. A new voice came through their speakers. It was calm and human, but there was something cold behind the words. This is Admiral Chun of the Terran Imperial fleet. You have entered human space with weapons armed and hostile intent. You have threatened human citizens. You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is not a request. Commander Vex received the report from his forward scouts 3 hours later. All 3 ships were captured. Not destroyed. Captured, the humans had boarded them without firing a single shot. Their technology had simply made Valoran weapons useless. This was impossible. The Valorans had spent 50 years studying human technology. They had catalogs of every ship design. They had stolen technical specifications. They knew exactly what humans were capable of building. This fleet should not exist. Commander Vex was not a coward. He had conquered 3 worlds himself. He would not turn back because of one strange encounter. He ordered the full fleet forward. 200 warships against 4 human vessels. The math was simple. The battle that followed lasted exactly 17 minutes. The Imperial fleet did not fight like any enemy the Valorans had faced. They did not trade fire or maneuver for position. They simply appeared inside Valoran formations. One moment, they were at the edge of sensor range. The next moment, they were among the Valoran ships, moving between them like ghosts. Valoran weapons fired in all directions. Missiles launched by the thousands. Energy beams cut through space, and none of it mattered. The Imperial ships moved through the fire like it was not there. Their shields absorbed everything without visible effect. And then they began to respond. The human weapons were precise. They did not waste energy. Each shot hit exactly where it was aimed. Engines were disabled. Weapon systems were destroyed. Bridge towers were cut away. In 17 minutes, Commander Vex lost his entire fleet without destroying a single human ship. He stood on his command deck surrounded by darkness. The power was gone. The weapons were gone. His ship drifted helplessly among the wreckage of his once proud fleet. And then the humans came aboard. They moved through the ship in small teams. Their armor was sleek and dark. Their weapons were strange devices that made no sound when fired. They did not kill unless they had to. They restrained and secured. They moved with perfect coordination, like they could read each other's minds. Admiral Chun met Commander Vex in person. The human was smaller than Vex expected. She had gray hair and lines on her face that showed her age. But her eyes were sharp, and her voice carried absolute authority. "You made a mistake," she said simply. "Many species have made this mistake. They see our merchants and our diplomats. They see our artists and our scientists. They see us share and trade and cooperate. And they think this means we cannot fight." She walked slowly around the captured commander. "For 50 years, we have been peaceful. This is true. We prefer peace. We believe in cooperation. We think the galaxy is better when species work together instead of fighting. But this does not mean we cannot defend ourselves." Admiral Chun stopped directly in front of Vex. "Your empire watched us for 300 years. You saw us fight our own wars. You saw us nearly destroy ourselves with nuclear weapons. You saw us kill millions of our own kind. And somehow, you concluded we were weak?" Vex had no answer. Everything he believed was crumbling around him. "We did not build the Imperial fleet because we wanted to conquer anyone. We built it because we know the universe is dangerous. We know there are species like yours who only understand strength. So we became strong. Stronger than you can imagine. And then we chose to be peaceful anyway." The message was sent to the Valoran High Council the next day. It came with recordings of the battle. It came with images of 200 captured warships. And it came with a simple warning. Humanity offers friendship to all who want it. We offer trade and knowledge and partnership. We will help any species that asks for help. But we will not be conquered. We will not be threatened. We will not allow our people to be harmed. If you come to us in peace, you will find generous friends. If you come to us in war, you will find the Imperial fleet waiting. The Galactic Assembly held an emergency meeting 3 days later. Species that had dismissed humans as harmless traders now looked at them with new eyes. The recording spread across 1,000 worlds. Everyone saw the same thing. The peaceful humans had built the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen, and they had kept it hidden for 50 years. Ambassador Crix was called to testify before the assembly. He was asked how he could have been so wrong about humans. His answer became famous across the galaxy. We assumed peaceful meant weak. We thought their kindness was foolishness. We believed that any species capable of conquest would choose conquest. We did not understand that humans had already conquered the most dangerous enemy of all, themselves. The Valoran Empire did not fall, but it changed. The High Council sent envoys to Earth asking for peace. They returned resources they had stolen from other species. They released worlds they had conquered. It was not kindness that drove this change. It was fear. But sometimes fear is the beginning of wisdom. Admiral Chun retired 5 years after the battle. She gave one final speech before leaving the service. Her words were recorded and shared across human space. I have spent my life preparing for war. I have trained soldiers and built weapons and planned battles. And I hope that everything I have done was for nothing. I hope the Imperial fleet never fires its weapons again. But I know that the only reason we can hope for peace is because we are prepared for war. The strong do not need to fight. They only need to be ready. Humanity continued to trade and share and cooperate. They welcomed new species into their partnerships. They built schools and hospitals on dozens of worlds. They remained the generous friends they had always been. But now everyone knew the truth that hid behind the kindness. The Imperial fleet waited in the darkness between stars. Thousands of ships crewed by millions of soldiers. Technology so advanced it seemed like magic. Weapons that could break worlds. All of it silent and patient, hoping never to be used but always ready. And across the galaxy, species that had thought about testing human resolve made different choices. They sent trade delegations instead of warships. They asked for partnerships instead of demanding tribute. They learned the lesson the Valoran Empire had learned the hard way. Humanity was peaceful because they chose to be, not because they had to be. And that made all the difference. The universe was vast and full of dangers. Species rose and fell over millions of years. Empires formed and crumbled. Wars consumed entire star systems, but humanity endured. They faced every challenge with the same approach. Open hands and hidden strength. Generous hearts and sharp swords. They became known as the species that would give you everything if you asked nicely, and destroy you completely if you tried to take it by force. The myth of human weakness died forever in the 17 minutes of that battle. What replaced it was something far more interesting, a new kind of power. A species that was dangerous precisely because they did not want to be. A people who built the greatest military in galactic history and then used it to protect peace. The Valons had assumed peaceful meant weak. The Imperial fleet shattered that myth into 1,000,000 pieces. And the galaxy was never quite the same again.